It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Yes, we made it to the weekend. What's happening, everybody? I hope you're doing great. Has been a long week. Man, it's been a long week. It's been a hell of a week here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro with Tropical Storm Debbie and still having flooding. So I want to shout out everybody in the area here in the Charleston, basically the low country, the Charleston, South Carolina metro, specifically Berkeley and Dorchester counties and communities, Moncks Corner and Somerville, and just all the communities around the Edisto River, just even today still. And Debbie is basically gone away, but the remnants and still getting some tropical weather. So we've had a lot of some very dear friends of mine, property damage, flooding, just it's crazy. So we want to lift everybody up in prayer. But it's Friday, so you know we like to have fun and keep it funny on a Friday. The Geno Jones Show now coming to you live Monday through Friday, live 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 in Chicago, live in LA, or not, well, live in LA, not from LA, from the Charleston, South Carolina metro, but live in LA Monday through Friday, 3:30 p.m. Tell everybody you know. Tell everybody to subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. So the 4th year anniversary, so October will mark the 4th year anniversary of the Geno Jones Show. I have a new subscription goal to get an additional 1,000 new subscribers to what I already have to support my media company, Geno Media, and to get that big YouTube check. I want to get that Club Shay Shannon Sharp bag, if you know what I'm saying. So all weekend long, all my influencers, spread the word, subscribe, share, rip some of the video because the monologues are fire, my guests are fire, the music videos, everything about the show is fire. So let's make it go viral. Influencers, screen grab some of the video, rip the video, chop it up into like 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the whole damn show. Let's do that. All right. Subscribe, share, screen grab, like, binge watch all my back episodes. Make it a Geno Jones Show binge watch weekend. All my great episodes, all my guests, all my celebrity guests, everybody old school. Mr. Big himself, Ronald Isley, and I've had Kenny Lattimore and Howard Hewitt to Lettucey, R&B superstar, my man October London, who is now in a group with Anderson .Paak and Snoop. Yeah, get ready for that. R&B and Southern Soul star, superstar, my man Roy Chip Anthony. So many celebrity guests. And over the 4 years, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Larry Dotson, former lead singer for the Bar-Kays. Old school fans, my man Lenny Williams. I can't even keep track of all the great guests. The lead singer for Ready for the World, Melvin Riley, who's got some new music. A lot of new artists. Sister Listen, that's got a brand new, that's her name, Listen. She was my guest a week ago, like last Thursday. She got a collaboration, a duet with Keith Sweat. They remade his Right and Wrong Way, that baby making song from back in the day on Keith Sweat's first album. Shout out to Keith, by the way. He got the key to New York City. So big shout out to you, my brother. So week in review, let's talk about it. So yesterday or Thursday, USA men's basketball won in a dramatic comeback fashion. They beat Serbia. Serbians thought they had them. Now they they can ball. They got a good team. They got Nikola Jokic, some say the best player in the NBA. Okay. At 39, LeBron looks like the best. And yesterday, Steph Curry looked like the best. Anthony Davis has been balling. So on Thursday, it was the Steph Curry game in the Olympics. 36 points. He balled out. LeBron played well. What they call him, LeBron, Captain America or Captain L'America. Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, all of them balled out. all the alphas, and they beat Serbia. So today, USA women's basketball beat the brakes off Australia. So shout out to Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart and all the ladies, Kalia Cooper, and all the ladies. It's part of USA women's basketball. So the men play France for the gold medal. The U.S. men's basketball team, that game is going to be Saturday afternoon. And on Sunday, the women are going for 8 straight gold medals. They haven't lost. They won like 60 straight games in the Olympics. Even the dudes haven't done that. So shout out to the women and the men. Shout out to all of Team USA. Speaking of Team USA, congratulations, Sha'Carri Richardson. Man, so the women's 4x100 team, unlike the men, that's a whole nother conversation. Carl Lewis said, we got to blow this up because the fellas have not got a gold medal in 24 years. You know how many Olympics? That's 8 Olympics. But today, the women's USA 4x100 women's track team, the sprinters in the relay got the gold medal. Gabby Thomas, shout out to her. She ran that second leg, so she won the gold medal in the 200 meters. But Sha'Carri Richardson, who got silver medal in the 100-meter finals, but really would have got the gold. But her and Shelly Ann Frazier from Jamaica, they're having a lot of problems over in Paris. So you got these 2 world-class, super popular sprinters, and because they were not living, so they're not living like in the athletes' housing. They have because they're big stars, so they got their own place. So when they came, when Sha'Carri Richardson and Shelly Ann Frazier came for the women's final of the 100s, they wouldn't let them in. And they had to go around and walk around, and basically it took them an hour to get to the event. So Shelly Ann Frazier Price, she didn't even run. And Sha'Carri ran, and it was just a mess. But Sha'Carri said, I got y'all ass today. So, because she had to come from behind. When she ran the anchor leg. The anchor leg is that last leg, and she was trailing. I don't know, maybe what, 3, 4, maybe 5 meters. Man, she ran them sisters down. And then toward the very end, just before she got to the finish line, she just looked over like, oh, I know you didn't think you could outrun my ass. So shout out to you, Sha'Carri, Gabby Thomas, and the women's 4x100 relay team got that gold medal. Show the men how to do it, because I don't know what the hell. I digress, and I am going to move on. This week we also talked about, if you're a Fugees fan and you got tickets, you might want to get your money back, because that U.S. tour is not going to happen. And Lauryn Hill is blaming it on the media, clickbait headlines, and sensationalism. Well, listen, Lauryn, you were the one that was cursing out your fans, talking about they should be glad that you showed up at all, even late. But I digress. But since we're going to talk about the media, my guest co-host Keela Carson is standing by. Now, before I do that, let me happy birthday to Hoda Kotb from the Today Show. She is the big 6'0", Deion Sanders, prime time, head coach of the University of Colorado Buffaloes, Hall of Famer, Pro Football Hall of Famer, arguably the greatest NFL cornerback of all time. Prime time. 57 today, and rest in peace to Whitney Houston. She joined the ancestors. She left us on this day, August 9th. August 9th. Today is August 9th. Friday. If you're watching me live, it's Friday. And if you're watching me live, please jump in the chat room, join the conversation. If you got a question or you want to have a conversation with me, I'll have a conversation with you on camera, me and Keela Carson. Jump in the chat room, and please, to be sure to leave your comments in the comment section, but rest in power to the greatest singing voice, as far as I'm concerned, of all time. I know that's saying a lot. Mahalia Jackson and Aretha, but Whitney for me. Whitney was, I know, I can hear my nephew, yes, Mariah Carey, Minnie Riperton, I could go on, but nobody. Whitney was just something special. So Whitney Houston joined the ancestors on this day, August 9th, back in 2012. Can you believe it's been 12 years since we lost Whitney. So, all right, let me call out the corporate media before I bring on Keila. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna bring her on and jump right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, she is the #1 co-host in the history of co-hosts on the planet, in the world. Like in the movie, was that next Friday or Friday after next? Yeah, it was Friday after next when Day told Craig, he said, Craig, we are top flight security for the world, Craig, because the world needs protection or whatever. Top flight security for the world. She is the #1 co-host in the history of co-hosts for the world, not just for the world, for the universe, for the galaxy, for the solar system. I think the galaxy is even bigger. Or is it the universe bigger than the galaxy? Well, she is like the #1 for all of them, ladies and gentlemen. There she is, melanated. Miss Keila Carson. Keila Carson.
You are right. The universe is bigger than the galaxies because there are many galaxies.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Professor.
Universe is everything.
See, it helps to have a professor on the show. All right, Key, so I want to jump into this, and then I want you to take the baton because it's been a lot of week. And so I got to I'm getting into corporate media's ass right now. And I got to shout out Lawrence O'Donnell. He hosts The Last Word on MSNBC because he snapped last night. And for a second, I'm like, Lawrence, you've been watching some of my monologues because I have been telling everybody and anybody that would listen, you all have to understand that those who are in power in the corporate media, I'm talking about CBS, NBC,
Fox,
ABC, Fox, or we know Fox, Rupert Murdoch, and then the cable networks, CNN, to a degree, definitely Fox Fake News, News Nation, Newsmax. Now, not so much MSNBC, and I'm not just saying that because I watch it, because they're really trying to help save the democracy. But even they were in on it. NBC got in on it last night, and Lawrence O'Donnell, he had to call out his own network. So, and I'm gonna say it again, you all need to understand this. All this, and Keila is also, she is a journalist. Now, all this about, the press, the media, really, especially the press and the news media, the fourth estate, and they're supposed to hold, like those in power, hold them accountable and seek out the truth. That's bullshit. They used to teach that when Keila and I were going to college. They used to teach that. And there was a time that was actually true. Where, you couldn't lie. You could just come on TV and lie. You would be like fight immediately. They would literally go to a break. They would snatch you out of an anchor chair. Or if you were a reporter, really, the news director, the general manager would just be in your little earpiece and would just fire you right there on the spot. And they would just mail you your check. But now you have to understand, it is about a check. Les Moonves, the former head of CBS, all of CBS, programming news. Now, he had to resign, and he got his golden parachute. How's it that, you had to resign because of these allegations of sexual misconduct, but, here's $20 million. Damn, I need that kind of contract, Kia, that kind of lawyer. 20.
Well, just for clarity, your contract is your contract, and although I know you are saying, well, that's an impropriety, but if that's not written in the contract that you don't get the $20 million if you touch women's booties or have sex with your staff, then
or pressure them. Now, Key, we both had media.
You get your money.
Now, let me just say, now here's what's interesting. because Les Moonves, he was the head of, like we said, programming and news. But Keela and I have signed contracts, radio and TV contracts. And in those contracts, there's something called a morality clause.
It is. Yeah.
To where if you wind up grabbing somebody's behind or
misrepresenting the brand of the company you work for.
Or using especially in management, using your power and influence to influence some young intern or like a young staffer to have sex, that would be a breach of the morality clause. And you might not get no money.
Well, but when you have lawyers, the way to get around that is you have the morality clause removed. So you don't know what
Mr.
those
Moonves
kinds of
had.
contracts, right? You got to have a lawyer that says, hey, we're taking that out, we're taking that out, and that's how you get around that.
But
so that means no matter what I do, you got to give me my money.
But think about that the network would be like, okay, everybody else under you got a morality clause in their contract, but you don't need one. And
right. Well, if they want him bad enough.
Yeah, but see how that worked out for him? Not well. So they were embarrassed. But Les Moonves was quoted multiple sources. You can Google this yourself. Don't take my word for it. A reporter asked him about all the free coverage they gave Orange Hitler, a.k.a. Donald Trump, in 2015 and 2016. The term they use in the industry is earned media, which is bullshit because he didn't earn anything. But the point I'm trying to make, all this free, like millions of dollars in free airtime. And they say, well, Les Moonves, looking back at that now, doesn't that seem like that was it was bad for our democracy? Look what happened. And Les Moonves, and I'm paraphrasing, said, it probably was bad for this democracy, but it was great for business.
Right. It's money. I mean, you've mentioned that quote many times on the show. It's business.
It is business. Please understand. Why do I say that? Because last night, so yesterday, Orange Hitler has I'm not going to.
1 hour.
Right,
1 hour?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to call it a news conference, Key. He just kind of just tricked the media. They came down there. He rambled and lied for an hour and didn't answer no questions. Nada. Not one.
Not one that made any sense. I mean, he had answers, but they were for caca and full of crap.
Right.
But
that in no way related to the questions that was answered.
But see, you can't. But again, that's, I think, to your point, that's the media's issue. But also we have to be careful, because if we want a democracy, right, and we want to say we have media that covers news fairly, then how could they not show up to Trump's 1 hour BS session on Crazy Talk? And because you can't say, well, he's crazy. You can't do that. You got to cover it.
But let me.
If you're caught.
I get what you're saying, Key. So let me just push back, and let me thank Lawrence O'Donnell, who called out his own damn network.
Okay.
We have 9 years experience. What did Maya Angelou say? When somebody
shows you who they are,
believe them the first time.
Right.
So we have been shown so many times that we can't even count for 9 years. That anytime this man is in front of a camera, and the camera, that little red light is on, when the camera is on and the mic is on, if his mouth is moving and open, he is lying. And we know that. And they gave him a whole hour and didn't even bother to fact check. Some networks tried to fact check it after the show. Now, Vice President Kamala Harris up in Detroit yesterday, big speech, United Auto Workers. the United Auto Workers, Sean Fain, endorsed her. You think, did they show an hour? Did they even show half of her speech? No. So the point I'm trying to make, Key, is that it's not about fairness. That used to exist, Key. Like, honestly, Keila and I worked together in the 90s.
But deregulation came along, and
fairness is bullshit. All
it
right?
is.
They don't care about fairness. Facts don't matter. All right. The only thing that matters is the dollars. That's it. They want the chaos. Corporate media. Keila worked in television. It's long, if not longer than I did. There was a term back in the 80s and 90s. If it bleeds, it leads.
It leads. Right.
It makes for great video.
But here's the thing for what happened yesterday. Well, let me back up to a couple years ago. Actually, more than a couple years ago, when Trump was still in office. CNN and other networks, what they started doing, because his talk had become so not just crazy, it had started to become dangerous.
Yes.
Where, people were being violently attacked based on things that he was saying. So what they started doing was they weren't covering much of anything he did live. They will record it and then fact check, and then, kind of put together some clips so that you get the gist of it. But they weren't running just live an hour of Trump and his nonsense. And they really should go back to that. That way they can look through and go, okay, this was nothing but a PR stunt.
And Key, that's my point. This has gone on for 9 years. How many times will you fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
Well, because you want ratings.
That's the bottom line. You want the chaos, you want the confusion, you want the train wreck, you want the violence. You want it. You want it because you will get the clicks online, you'll get the views, and you'll get the ratings, and you can sell your ad time, you can sell your commercials for an outrageous rate. But that is not the news media's job, Key. That's what they told us. They taught us that in school.
Yeah, but this is, okay, you're confusing news with entertainment.
That's what news is now, Key.
But it's not news. Key. It's entertainment.
You and I have worked
disguised as news.
Yes. You and I both, even before you and I met in 95, we have worked, because I remember you had that background. We worked in real newsrooms where you had to fact check 3 or 4 different sources. You could not even like the anchors, the reporters, the editors and news directors, you had to have 3 or 4 sources before you could confirm, and that they would like fact check and go behind you. You had to be able to prove something before you went on camera or went on the radio.
And if you couldn't, you'd be in trouble.
It didn't run. It did not air. It did not. It was, and there was, to your point, let's talk about, because I worked in college in the mid 80s coming out. I started off answering phones at WBBM TV. So they were like the #1 news station. It's got Bill Curtis, Walter Jacobson. I know you worked in one of the top newsrooms.
WWJ.
Yep. You cut your teeth.
It's big time radio here in Detroit.
Right. So companies like CBS, NBC, ABC, you had the entertainment division and the news division.
Well,
and the news division's job, Key, this is important, everybody, so you need to listen to this. The news division's job was not to generate revenue.
Right.
That was the job of
all
the sitcoms, the Cosby Show, and back in the day, Good Times, Mork and Mindy, whatever the hell, and Monday Night Football, or just the NFL. That was their job.
But here is what I'm trying to explain to you that most people just don't want. They want to go la 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 la, and they don't want to hear it. But take your same theory, or it's not a theory. Take your same model of what news and the other departments of the television station or radio station are.
The entertainment and news.
Take that same model, and then I want you to look at CNN. What would be CNN's programming other than news? There is none. I can stop you right there. So those shows that you see, those are their entertainment shows. And if you read the fine print on the network a few times a day, or if you go to their website and you look up their corporate information, it'll tell you we are entertainment. It says it, but they just don't make it readily available to the public. So then you're fooled by thinking that they owe you some type of honesty, some type of serious vetting. They really don't. Now, I'm not saying that some news organizations don't try, but they don't have to. When you go to watch a show like Erin Burnett on CNN, she don't have to tell you the truth. That's entertainment.
Yeah, but you can't come on and call yourself.
Yeah, you can.
Well, listen. Because
they told you it's entertainment, you just didn't read it.
Well, but you can't put that on the
Geno.
But no, listen to me. You can watch all the promos, the most trusted news network. Don't stop running them damn promos. Stop conning people. Stop with the bullshit.
No. They can say that if 5 minutes a day they have their reporter anchor who's, hi, this is Keela with your News Minute on CNN. And then I give you the real news for 1 minute. And then we get, that's
and
what
bullshit and lie for the rest of the day.
But listen, it doesn't become as apparent for a lot of liberals when you're watching something like CNN. But if you're watching a Fox News, you will turn on Fox, and for 5 minutes a day, you will see. That's why, what's his name? He left because he said he couldn't. No, not Chris. Shepard. Was it Shepard? Who was it?
Shepard Smith. Shepard Smith that left Fox News. Yes.
Thank you.
Because I can't do this. This ain't journalism.
Can't do it no more. Because you would watch Shepard, and Shepard, even though the show right before him was on some nonsense, he would come in and tell the truth.
Right.
Even though he was on Fox News. So that's what I'm telling you. As long as they find some 5 seconds a day to tell the truth, they can call themselves news. And then what the promo then infers is that, I'll fill in the blanks for you, Geno. For 5 minutes a day, we are the most trusted news network on.
Well, then say it. Just stop lying to people.
No, because we used to do in radio. We're number one. In the afternoon, we're number one. In the morning at 6:05.
When the stations I worked at, and especially because I wanted to have bragging rights, when I said I was number one, I had the receipts. I had the ratings to prove it. So.
But you get what I'm saying, G.
But still.
We play fast and loose with the facts.
Yeah, but you are playing with, really, it's a dangerous game, Keith, because you're
playing. It is. In the age of Trump, it is.
You're playing with people's lives. You're playing with a choice between freedom and people's oppression. And they know it. And the point, and I've been saying this, that the corporate media, listen, Keela said it in a nice way. They don't give a shit. I've been saying it all along. They want the chaos. They want the confusion. They want the violence.
They want the money.
Well,
they're turning a blind eye to the repercussions.
There are some people in those newsrooms that are okay with, because some of the folks in the newsroom, they kind of, are cool. Some of them kind of subscribe to some of that ideology themselves. That's all. All you got to do is look at Newsmax, News Nation. I could go on. They're trying to out Fox News in the whole 9 yards. So, but.
Well, they claim they're trying to be more centrist.
Fox News' handle was fair and balanced. There's never been nothing on the history of Fox News that was fair and balanced. It was created to be basically America's version of Moscow has something called Pravda, or now it's RTV, Russian TV, which is state-run. And basically now, like Sinclair, the Sinclair broadcast, they kind of do what Russian TV does, to where that the government, those in the government, in the communications department, literally, Key, would write the scripts and send them to the news department for the anchor to read verbatim. Sinclair Broadcasting is doing that with all their TV stations in all these markets.
But you know what? Listen, this is the fault, and this is not going to be popular. This is the fault of the people. We wake up our lazy tails every day and can't wait to see what Nene is doing and who shot John on this reality show and this, that, and then we can tweet all day about Nene and Sheree and all it is, and Sheba Sheree versus Sheen and all of these. We can do all of that. But when it comes to getting our butts up and saying you can't lie to us, or you got to vote, or we laying back in the cut. So it's the people's fault because we do not demand the truth.
Well, yes, collectively, people should demand the truth. And
we sit back and we rest on our laurels and say, oh, it's that they couldn't be lying to us. They wouldn't lie to us. We give too much power to the power structure.
Okay, so in part, I'm with you, Key. But here's the reality too. People have lives. They're worrying about their jobs. They have families. They're worried about their kids, and do I have enough money for childcare, daycare? Do I have enough money to take the bus to work? Do I have enough money to take my sick mother to the doctor for her appointment? Can my kids need a pair of new shoes? Look, I'm out of money and we out of groceries and I don't get paid for another 7 days. So I'm just saying that people are just trying to survive, like a vast majority of Americans. But we both have worked in the media. Now, our show is about entertainment, but we entertain you, but we have facts and receipts. We even tell you where you can find out. We the term in the industry was source. We'll source it for you. We'll tell you where you can get, where we get some of our sources. Don't take my word, Google it, and you play reporter, investigative reporter. You can find out everything that we're telling you. But it is those who have television shows, radio shows that have licenses, even on cable network, you have a you have an ethical and a moral responsibility to use these platforms. You can entertain networks. Look, networks always had sitcoms, those newsrooms that you and I talked about when we were in college in the late 80s, early mid 90s. They had those networks, like I said, they had the entertainment divisions. NBC had the Cosby Show, A Different World, but then they had Tom Brokaw.
Yes, but what I am saying, Geno, is that thanks to the Democratic president named Bill Clinton, we were deregulated.
And it takes, so basically, and what Key means, that these companies were allowed to just buy as many TV and radio stations all across the country. There was a time where the major networks could only have one FM.
Yep. One
radio.
TV.
You could have an AM FM and one TV station.
And one TV.
CBS had a WBBM News Radio, B96, where I worked, I was the first black male they hired right out of college in 80, what was it, from 86 to 88. And then there was something called duopoly where you could have
That's right.
two. And it wasn't, I don't even think it was a year later, Bill Clinton effed it up. And basically, it was the term they were using was megapoly, and they just allowed companies,
Yep.
you can buy as much as your money will buy. But now
Yep.
companies like iHeart and Cumulus are trying to refinance this $20 million debt that they've been in for over a decade now that they can't pay, and they just keep trying to refinancing it. iHeart just laid off 300 people again. iHeart's
Yeah.
been laying
So
off probably close to 1,000 people, Key, every
all
year
they just
since
lay off every year. You just know
2005. I
you
was,
know it's getting ready to be a layoff
yep,
every year.
yep, iHeart used to be Clear Channel, which
Yep.
is where I work. When I left it, well, actually,
Well,
we
before,
worked in Detroit.
yeah, and
We
it
were,
wasn't when you came in. It was under secret,
yeah,
and
right.
then they moved to Evergreen, I
Yes,
believe,
Evergreen, and then
and
Clear Channel.
then Clear Channel. So, but these things, they just what happens is that these companies just come in and acquire, and it changes its name and on and on and on. But my point is, once deregulation happened under the Democratic president named Bill Clinton, all bets were off. And then the media, what they do is they throw it back at us and they say, well, Donald Trump is like reality TV. That's what you say you like to watch. When we have regular news on, hard news, you don't turn on your station. And then we don't make money. So, because of the deregulation, they made it hard for networks to survive without all those capital dollars coming in from other areas. So, they had to move to entertainment.
Yeah.
So, Geno, I'm not saying it's right.
No, I know
What
you're
I
not.
am saying, what in business, I'm speaking business, that this is what it is because of business. And we keep watching it. We don't turn on the TV unless Donald Trump is acting a fool. We don't turn on, and that's the problem.
She's saying in general. Now, I'm not going to turn this into CNBC because I know I got to let you run real soon. But a lot of these big companies, iHeart, Cumulus, they really made bad business decisions because what happened is
They
that,
have.
that the career broadcasters, especially in programming,
Yeah.
radio and TV, they don't run these companies anymore.
No.
Basically, you
They've killed us in replacement of comedians and business people that don't
right.
have any
That
concern about.
And that's the point I wanted to make, even more so than the comedians. I'm talking about the folks who own these companies now.
Yeah, they're
Investment
bean
houses.
counters and business people. They're not creative journalists or programmers that understand audience and retention and all of that. And when you get bean counters and business people, they're not looking at the creative side of things or the ethical side of things. They're
iHeart,
looking at the bottom line.
iHeart now is technically owned by a company Bain Capital.
Okay.
You can do the research.
Yeah.
Who is Bain Capital? Google it. John Bain and Mitt Romney are the two primary owners. Bain Capital. Bain Capital bought Clear Channel, which is now iHeart, from the Mays family. Clear Channel started off as a really small company out of San Antonio, Texas. Now, you were talking about Bill Clinton, who, yes, he did deregulate, but somebody who came right behind him was going to do it. And that person was George W. Bush. George W. Bush, who was governor of as a matter of fact, Red McCombs, a guy named Red McCombs used to own the San Antonio Spurs. And George Bush were really prominent. As a matter of fact, I think they even bought some media properties, but I know they were instrumental because Clear Channel was based out of San Antonio, Texas. So you had all those ties and connections there. So I
Yeah, I
digress.
mean,
But
so listen, I try all the time to make sense of all of these things, Gino, but I try to be a critical thinker and think what are both sides doing to contribute to a problem? Because a problem rarely exists um because of one thing. It's a series of things. And I just want to, before we go, reiterate that we have got to get involved in this process too and say, listen, we want credible news. And if that means we only can have NPR, well, so be it. Then we got to do what we got to do because, like, when I want my credible news, I go to NPR.
or I got an even better solution. We need to have more black-owned media.
Well, that too. But what I'm saying as of today, I go to NPR and I also send in, I don't care if it's $5, I help PBS. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, public radio or
Public
public
broadcasting, yeah.
television, I also have been a big supporter since I uh, was very new in broadcast. I used to do their telethons locally, and that's when I became a supporter. I watched Sesame Street, grew up with it. It started when I was born. I'm 1969, and Sesame Street starts in 1970, I believe. And so I grew up with that network and I contribute, I pay my money so that I can say that I am paying into an entity that gives me credible information. Period.
And for 4 years, the Geno Jones Show, part of Geno Media, has been giving you credible information
There
along
you
with
go.
entertainment, but
Yep.
facts and receipts and
Yep.
sourcing where you can find out when the monologues and when I cite things that I say are facts. I tell you what, don't take my word for it. You can find out for yourself. So you can
And
leave me.
and I also like the fact that you allow people like me on your platform who will say, "Wait a minute, Gino, I don't look at it that way, or I don't see it that way, or here's another way to look at it," to keep you balanced.
Yeah, and because, but I am not a journalist. I do commentary. I'm an entertainer.
Right.
Like I do on a content
Right.
creator. I'm an entertainer, radio, TV host. But I do commentary. But you could do all that with facts. Dick
Yeah.
Gregory was the master of doing it with facts and receipts. George Carlin, a lot of your political comedians
Comedians.
who
Mm.
their stick or
Yeah.
they were more so known to be their content and their
Yeah.
humor was rooted in social, political, or political commentary.
Yeah.
But
Who was it? Paul Mooney. He was like
yes,
that as
Paul
well.
Mooney, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even Richard would he could kind of
Yeah. Richard Pryor.
he could go
Yes.
in and out of the lanes. He could definitely
Yep.
do it. But Dick Gregory
Mhm.
was one of the masters of it. But
Yeah.
we both know both been in media long enough to know that these platforms are powerful, and
They
you can
are.
do both. Two things can be true.
Yeah.
Multiple things. You can entertain. You can
Yep.
inform. You can enlighten. You can
Yep.
inspire. You can educate. All of that.
Yeah.
It ain't. You don't have to have one or the other. That's
No,
why.
we gotta find people who are willing to do it. And when you talk about the Bill Gates and the Warren Buffetts of the world, when they say they're gonna give away all their money, maybe one of them needs to
Yes.
buy a station and call it Truth News or Truth Network or whatever, TN
Yeah.
TN News, Truth Network News, and put their money where their mouth is and really get, because it is very, let me tell you something what people don't realize. Just like a single mother that has a child is considered at risk. That child is considered at risk just because the mother is single, right? Just like that's important, it is important for you to know that misinformation is as dangerous as death. I mean, when we are not dealing with truth, we make decisions based on ignorance
And lies.
and decisions based on ignorance and lies could end up turning our democracy, our republic, into
A dictatorship.
or I mean, we
Really.
we could end up
To,
back in
it could
slavery.
turn us to
Uh,
Germany in the 1930s or
yeah,
pre 1865, 1863 here in America.
yeah. I
And
mean,
that's
this
where
is
these
why
people want to go.
Trump's people are so loyal, running around spewing his lies because they're hearing it over and over. And then you've got the internet putting out all these lies and people passing it around. So I am not sitting here crazy. Misinformation could cause chaos. And I don't mean chaos figuratively. I mean real street chaos as you saw on January 6th.
And in closing, I am saying, have been saying, and I just shout out to Lawrence O'Donnell, who I'm a huge fan, who just, because he's fearless, who had the courage and the conviction to say that for these corporate outlets and these corporate news departments,
Yeah.
that the chaos, confusion, the violence, the lies, everything that Nikila and I were just talking about, is profitable. It
Yes.
makes a lot of money. And these people who are in those positions have thrown their sense of morality and ethics, because it wasn't always like that, and it still doesn't have to be that way. These networks will still make a lot of money, Key. It has nothing to do with that. They didn't even worry, but the news department didn't. In a lot of cases in big cities, some of the news departments actually, technically, if you were an accountant, they lost money. They spent more money than they generated. But it was the
Right,
fact
but
that.
nobody wants to do that. That's why I said we need a Warren Buffett, a
But
Bill
the
Gates.
entertainment division made it up, though, Key. They didn't worry about it. The entertainment division would offset it. As a matter of fact, the news department, like CBS, I know this for a fact, they were like, I used to hear them talk about it all the time, to where there was like autonomy between the news division, because their number one thing, because think about CBS had people like Edward R. Murrow, Walter Cronkite, where
Well,
integrity, facts, that's what you stood
but
on.
you're mixing all of these things together. I mean, ABC News in and of itself, but when you talk about CNN, which I think is in the same family as ABC now.
Well, now it's turned.
Is it?
Is it? I think Warner now, because it's
Okay.
they
Well,
done
I'm
all
trying to. I know
HBO, the same company
they
that
all
owns
get
Time Warner, HBO, all of it. Yeah.
okay. Because you're right, CNN. You can watch CNN now on HBO Max or whatever. You can stream it. But what I'm trying to say, Geno, is when you talk about cable news, that they have taken the easy route instead of having programming and some news, because they're cable news, right? They have these shows with these we call them opinion shows or whatever, and they're hired to antagonize and
Yes.
to separate and to
To trigger.
like Bill O'Reillys, to entertain. And so what you gonna do?
But it's not just, Lawrence was saying that it's not just CNN, or if somebody want to try to throw MSNBC in there, but definitely Fox, Newsmax, News Nation, Newsmax, News Nation. It's ABC, NBC, and CBS are just as bad now, almost just as bad. Because
Yeah.
all of them, he criticized his own network, NBC. that gave on shit like an hour to just lie?
Yeah.
That would
Well,
never.
I told you they could fix that. Just go back to what they were doing. I can't speak for the other networks, but I know CNN at one point they were like, okay, no more of
Well,
this.
MSNBC's the same way. They don't.
We're gonna record it and we'll pick out some clips and he'll be a part of the a 30-second package just like everybody
It's
else.
the same old stick.
Right.
Lock them up.
Right.
Eat, drink ivermectin, and inject bleach and shine an
Yeah.
ultraviolet, a blue light down your throat. Just
Yeah.
foolishness.
What? Yeah.
The
So
election was
anyway,
stolen.
all that.
All them lies.
All that crazy. So but we gotta also participate and say we'll not be lied to anymore. But that's incumbent upon us to say we're not gonna buy your products. We're not gonna watch this stuff anymore on whatever network it is until you get some credible news on here where we know that this is the truth. We don't care about your biases. We just want to know what are the facts so that we can protect ourselves and understand what our country is doing and how we need to participate in it.
So
We need the
those
truth.
who want the truth and want to hear more of the truth here on the Geno Jones Show and Geno Media, please reach out to me on YouTube or Geno Jones Show at Gmail. I'll let you know how you can support the show. I would love to have you as an advertiser, as a sponsor. If you want to hit up the Zelle, I can give you all that information too. But it's so important, all jokes aside, that we support Black-owned media. Shout out to what Roland Martin is doing with the Black Star Network. Shout out to, even though it's a part of Sirius XM, Urban View on Channel 126 with Karen Hunter and Clay Kane and Larry Daniel Favors and the late Joe Madison, who he was the one that really got the ball
He was
rolling.
the star.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Reverend Al Sharpton is on there too. So we got a lot of it is listen, and I'm gonna close by saying this. Understand, nobody is gonna tell your story better than you can tell your story. And they're not gonna tell it because they have different agendas. But you gonna tell the real. For those who, because this is something Keela got a pet peeve. It's like I can't let her do like my biography because you're like, well, Geno, I need to know it all. We want the good, the bad, the ugly. But if you're gonna tell it, tell your own story, and just tell it. Don't involve other folks. They don't want to. But just tell your story, or as the kids say, tell your truth. The truth needs not. My grandmother said, Jeannie, the truth needs no defense. You can set the truth on the table and walk away. It ain't gonna change. People can try to remix it and change it, or only pick out. The truth stands on its own. Thank you, Keela Carson. We didn't get a chance to. But this was a really. It's a powerful conversation because we've been having this conversation. And shout out to Lawrence O'Donnell, but I didn't get a chance to get your take on Vice President Kamala Harris's her pick to be her running mate.
Love Walt. Love that he was a teacher. Love that he was a football coach. Love that he was just this average Joe, no pun intended, that jumped into politics. And I think he is going to be an asset to her because as sweet as he is, he's also a pit bull and is not afraid to hit that stump and tell the truth about the opponent. And I'm going to vote. I'm voting for Kamala. I don't care if Waltz was a walrus. I'm voting for Kamala.
Look at that.
But good choice.
30 seconds. That's a pro right there. 30 seconds. Keela Carson, number one. We love you, Key. Have a great weekend.
You too.
I'll probably reach out to you over the weekend, and hopefully we'll see you next week. All right. Thanks, everybody, for letting me be a part of your life as always. God bless each and every one of you, and especially you. God, most of all. Thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, up in New York, here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro, in Atlanta, Miami, up in Philly, D.C., Chicago. We come on at 5:30. Chicago, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Memphis, Houston, New Orleans, 5:30. Out on the West Coast, live in Los Angeles, 3:30 p.m. San Francisco, Oakland, San Diego, up in Seattle, Portland, Oregon, 3:30 p.m. Tell everybody to subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. My goal, an additional 1,000 new subscribers to kick off my 4th year anniversary. October will mark 4 years of the Geno Jones Show, coming to you live on the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. Once again, if you'd like to be a sponsor, I'd love to have you as an advertiser or sponsor on the show. Just reach out to me, Geno Jones Show at Gmail. Geno Jones, not the, just Geno Jones Show at Gmail. And tell everybody to subscribe to the channel. All my influencers, chop up some of the video, screen grab it, rip the video, make it go viral. This conversation we just had about the media basically wanting the chaos and just promoting the lies, and why now you're seeing so much of this liar, Orange Hitler, when they know the dude is lying. So go back and chop up some of this monologue or just some of the show, any episode. All my back episodes, you can check them out. Subscribe, share, screen grab, like, make it a Geno Jones Show binge watch weekend, and leave your comments for this episode and all of my shows in the comment section. And when you're watching me live, please join the conversation in the chat room. Thank you to my #1 fan, my executive producer, my mom, Mary Dixon. Thank you, Mother. I love you. We'll talk with you later. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you live. The next live version of the Geno Jones Show is going to be Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time in New York, Philly, D.C., Atlanta, Charlotte, Miami, here in Charleston, South Carolina. 5:30 p.m. Chicago, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, St. Louis, Memphis, Dallas, Houston, New Orleans. 5:30 p.m. Central Time. 3:30 p.m. on the West Coast, L.A., Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, Seattle, Portland. 3:30 p.m. live Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Once again, please tell everybody that you run into my influencers. Help a brother out. Support Black-owned media. Thank you for supporting Geno Media. Tell everybody to subscribe so we can reach that goal of 1,000 new subscribers in the next 60 days to kick off the 4th year anniversary. October is the anniversary month of the Geno Jones Show. All right, everybody. I love you. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you live Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.